think about your retirement, what comes to mind? You probably are thinking about where you want to travel, maybe spend more time with your family, or all about those healthcare costs. Wait a second, the healthcare cost probably wasn't at the top of your list. You're not alone. The truth is, healthcare expenses, one of the biggest wild cards in retirement planning. So here to break down the biggest misconceptions about that, healthcare and your retirement, Taylor and Laurel Stewart from Mattson Financial Services, a trusted team right here in Grand Rapids, helping retirees build smarter, more secure retirement strategies. You can also catch them on their popular radio show, Money Mentors. Good morning, Laurel. Good morning, Taylor.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. The biggest myth when it comes to people with healthcare costs in retirement, I called it a wild card. I mean, it's kind of hard to predict, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is that Medicare will take care of me, and I'm not going to have to pay anything for it. Both of those are not true, right? We have Medicare premiums for Part A and Part B, and it doesn't cover everything, right? It doesn't cover you if you go into a long-term care facility and you're going to be there for an extended period of time. What if you need hearing aids? All of these other things that it doesn't cover. So now we need some supplemental coverage or an advantage plan to help pick up that gap, right? And then that costs money. So it's really sitting down with somebody and looking at what is that overall healthcare expense going to be, the known and the unknowns. We need to make sure we've got that coverage if something catastrophic was going to happen.
Laura, how often does this happen? I mean, I'm sure people they've already talked about taxes. They're looking at market volatility. They've got their eye on those things. But healthcare costs.
Yeah, I think everybody knows to ask a question about it, but like you said, it's a giant question mark. Right. You know, do we talk about my family history or longevity and how I'm feeling today as I'm sitting across, you know? But we looked at it to where we've learned that advisors might be doing well for their clients with the amount of money, you know, interest that they're receiving, but they're not thinking about taxes. They're not talking about what does your healthcare scenario look like and what it's going to cost you, which kind of seems crazy because you need income in order to provide for that. So we've actually adopted a health solutions. We've brought that into our company, and we offer that complimentary to all of our clients as just an added service because we want to make sure you're having these questions to know how much is it going to cost me? Or a lot of times we might have a couple coming in, one's retiring and one is not yet.
Yeah.
And maybe we see that one that's not retiring yet start seeing the retiree and they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not of the age of 65 to be a part of Medicare, but I want to be on these journeys with my spouse.
It sure looks fun.
Yeah. Now I need gap coverage or marketplace assistance. And so there's a whole nother avenue of questions and things. So we want to make sure you get those answers and you feel confident with your healthcare plan. So we add that into everything that we do here at Mattson.
I love how you said complimentary and added service. I like those types of words.
Right. Everything else is so fee-based and costs so much, right? So we don't want that to be everybody else's experience.
But Taylor, you did mention something that I think a lot of people might not think of, and that's long-term care. That long-term care is expensive.
It's very expensive, and statistically, you know, Laurel or I, one of us are going to need it, right? That's about what that statistic works out to be. Now the question is, how do you pay for it, right? Medicare, very limited. Do we buy this very expensive long-term care policy that maybe we don't end up needing and then we don't get anything out of, right? So we've just paid a bunch of premiums to the insurance company, we're not using it.
Right.
Do we use other sources of guaranteed income that we can leverage for long-term care? Or maybe we've got this life insurance policy that's got a cash value, we don't really need the life insurance. So what if we were to exchange that for a life insurance policy that also has some long-term care rider and coverage on it? So again, we got to look at it from a multifaceted approach and keep that flexibility because you may not need it. Statistically, probably one of us will. But again, if you don't, we want to make sure that that money's still there that you can use for other things.
Exactly.
Go to your heirs, right? If you're not using it, somebody else gets that benefit.
Absolutely, because a lot of people are wondering, like, hey, I want to live off this money, but what if? And then what if I don't use that money? Where's that money going to go?
Exactly.
Right? Nobody wants to just throw it out the window, right? So healthcare options, how can someone get started? Somebody's right now watching this going, you know what, I wouldn't mind at least somebody taking a look at this stuff. How do we get started?
Would love to offer, complimentary coming into our office, being one of those first 5 callers. We'll bring you in, we'll talk about your entire retirement plan and especially this health insurance piece. You know, you probably have questions, you have some things that now you're like, oh, I don't even know what to ask maybe. So let us help you get across that finish line by being one of those first 5 callers.
Absolutely. People thought Social Security was going to be enough. People thought Medicare was was going to be enough,
Yep.
and they're finding out that's not the case. So
Yes.
if you want to get set up with this great deal, our viewers today, if you're watching right now, Mattson Financial Services has an exclusive opportunity for you. If you're in or near retirement, you've saved $250,000 or more, they want to offer you that complimentary comprehensive retirement plan. Their team will sit down with you personally to create a customized plan looking at your investments, income, health care, and more to help make your retirement as healthy and financially secure as it deserves to be. This opportunity is limited, so call now, 1-800-536-8907. That's 1-800-536-8907.
Do you know a remarkable educator?